before they started winning a lot, like 9 in a row, they played a lot like what we saw yesterday. So seeing the reversion back to what they were, revert back to what they were, was not a pretty sight, and it gave us all a lot of worries, especially with Miami coming up next on the schedule. Now, some might say, "Oh, it's the Marlins; they suck." Well, let me just tell this to the casual fan that would say that they get beat a lot by the Marlins, as even the somewhat more than casual fan we can understand. And what I was hoping, although for whatever reason, in the back of my mind, 10 in a row just didn't fit this team. I don't know what it was, just 10 in a row. I didn't feel like it was going to happen. And that first inning took place yesterday. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's not happening. The fifth inning took place yesterday. And I was like, oh, that's definitely not happening, even though it was only a 3-run ball game. 9-1 in their last 10 games. They have kept pace with the Braves, who have pretty much been just as hot. They are 3.5 games out of a wild card spot now in the National League. So when you talk about this team, you got to talk about whether or not they really have turned the page. And Tommy Green will talk to us about whether or not they can finally get over that hump, finally remove the black cloud over them that is called the Miami Marlins, and put them in the rearview mirror to start separating themselves. And I remember, and I've told you guys this before, I remember talking to Jason Stark a couple of years ago, and he talked about how the Phillies had just signed Bryce Harper, and basically the division was going to come down to who beats the Marlins more. Who could beat up on a bottom feeder like the Miami Marlins more? Of course, at the time, the Braves took it to the Marlins. The Mets took it to the Marlins. And the Phillies, of course, did not take it to the Marlins. They allowed the Marlins to take it to them. Now is an opportunity to see how much you really have turned the page between the Joe Girardi Philadelphia Phillies and the Rob Thompson Philadelphia Phillies. And ultimately, that will be decided in the coming months of the season. But if you want to continue the good vibes that the Phillies have already created by winning 9 in a row, it would sure help a lot of people feel a lot better about the rest of the season if you could beat up on those Miami Marlins. Now, let's get into yesterday's game because it wasn't too pretty. First off, I just want you to hear Rob Thompson talk about this first inning before I talk about this first inning, because quite frankly, I need a breather before I get into how piss poor the first inning was yesterday for the Philadelphia Phillies. Here's Rob Thompson on the tone that was set in that first inning and whether or not it set it for the rest of the game, where the Phillies, of course, went on to lose 13-1.
I think so. Got Ranger, we're a little sloppy defensively and caused Ranger quite a few pitches. So, yeah.
Like, what do you want me to say about that? It was terrible. But if you do look at that first inning, Phillies in a situation where they get first and second with nobody out. There's a dribbler hit to Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm fields it. And and he had time to do this, instead of fielding the ball and tagging the lead runner, which I 1,000% believe was the play there. Rob Thompson, you'll hear him again in a second, talking about how Alec Bohm he should have just threw the first to get the out. Yeah, that would have been fine. Or get the lead runner. Like little league play. Little league play. You have an opportunity to get the lead runner, you get the lead runner. And Alec Bohm had an opportunity to get the lead runner. Instead, he goes for broke, fires to second base in an attempt to get a double play. So he's going for a 2-out runner on third opportunity here. And he obviously doesn't get it. He gets nobody. So then you have the bases loaded with nobody out, when it should be runners on first and second with at least 1 out. Now, does that come back to bite him? Of course it does. Because why wouldn't it? As I said at the start of the show, this is the Phillies reverting back to what they played really 10 games ago. What do you think?